Do you remember Papa's Pizzeria, that old flash game that everybody played in middle school? Well, if you didn't know, there's 14 of them. That's right, this man Papa owns 14 different restaurants. So today I'm going to be playing all of them for a week and throwing them into a tier list because why not? But first, a little background to the games. The Paparia games is a series of cooking games where you play as someone who's working in a new restaurant and have to single-handedly run the restaurant yourself. There's like 3 or 4 main sections to each game. The order station, which is very self-explanatory. The cooking area, that's just a timing mini game, but there's slight variation in each different game. The decoration section, where you put toppings on the different foods, and where most of the variation of all the different games come from. And the fourth section is only really in the later games. Most of the time, it's just a second mini food that takes very little effort. Along with that, there's a bunch of other little stuff that I'll touch on a game-to-game basis. In almost every game, your character kind of gets forced into working at the restaurant one way or another. Take Wingeria, for example. The whole reason you're even working at the wing spot is because you won the restaurant in a competition, and Papa just hands you a uniform and keys, and there you go. You have to do everything now. So what are Papa's real intentions? Is he giving you these restaurants out of the goodness of his heart, or is he doing it just for money? That's a great question. I won't be answering it this video, because I'm really just here for the cooking. Alright, let's get into it. Starting with Papa's Pizzeria. Papa's Pizzeria was the first game in the series, so everything's a little basic, although that's not necessarily a bad thing. This game has a lot of freedom when it comes to designing your pizzas, which is really fun to mess around with, while also sticking to what the customers want. Every character has their own unique order, which is always the same, so at a certain point you can memorize the order and don't even really have to look. I do really like the gameplay loop of the pizzeria. The cooking time feels like it's the perfect amount, not too long, not too short. Orders come in fast enough where you're not just sitting around, but you're also not overwhelmed, and you don't really have to sit there and babysit the cooking for no reason. Overall, a pretty solid start to the series, and it's going into the A tier. Moving to Papa's Freezeria, I've already lost track of the order of these games, but I'm just going to guess this is the second one, and it seems to be the most popular one given it's been in Cool Math Games' top 10 games for over a decade now. Freezeria expands on Pizzeria in only good ways. This game gives you the ability to decorate the shop, which not only makes your store more personal, but also gives you perks like improving waiting times. It also seems to be a staple of the series moving forward, so obviously people liked it. Making ice cream is a little harder than making pizza in my opinion, just because it's more of a timing-based minigame than the pizza one. That's not bad though. It does make getting perfect a lot more satisfying. In the decoration station, there's still freedom. It's a little less than Pizzeria, just because it's more of like a mini game of trying to balance out all the toppings rather than get the right pattern. Really, the only thing I don't like is waiting for the ice cream to mix. It's a little boring, takes a little longer than Pizzeria. If you have multiple going at the same time, there isn't really a way to take them off at the same time, if that makes any sense. But honestly, it's a very small complaint. Given everything this has improved over Pizzeria, Freezeria has to go into the S tier. Papa's Burgeria. This is the first game in the series I don't really remember playing when I was younger, which is weird because it came out in 2010. While this still has all the fun qualities of Papa's games, this is definitely the one I've liked the least so far. Not only do you have to babysit the burgers while they're cooking more than any other game so far, it's also kind of like the main mini game of this because you have to evenly cook the burgers, which is probably a great lesson for little Timmy out there, but really isn't that fun. This also completely removes any sense of freedom in decorating, instead trading it for a complete balancing minigame, which isn't bad, but it's just kind of a nothing burger compared to everything else. Anyways, still has the decorations from Freezeria, and moving forward, every game will have that unless it's mentioned. But the posters in Burgeria have set positions, so there's a little less customization. I still had fun with this game, but it really wasn't my favorite. Going into the C tier. I definitely played Papa's Sushiria a little early, because this is one of the later games of the series. It also happens to be one of the most complicated ones. Making sushi is a lot more detailed oriented than burgers or pizza, so naturally there's a lot more steps. When cooking, you have to add sauce to the rice halfway through and pull it out the right time, which isn't anything crazy. When actually building the sushi, you have to do it in the exact order people want with the orientation they want too. For example, having the rice or the nori on top. This is kind of like the burgers, where it's more of a balance instead of the right place. Although this is more of a how much you can fit on the sushi rather than vertically balancing the ingredients. Every order also comes with boba now, so you're not just making food. To make this game not impossible, they did really slow down the amount of orders coming in each day, which is nice. Along with there's new mini games in between the days, which is how you earn the new outfits for your character along with posters. You can also unlock daily specials that give you extra money when someone orders them. Overall, there's definitely a lot to do in this game, but the loop necessarily wasn't my favorite. Still going to the B tier though. Moving on to Papa's Bakeria, and okay, I really like this one. Papa's Bakeria brings back what was fun with Pizzeria, while also just being able to do pretty much whatever you want with decorating. It also has all the quality of life stuff from the newer games. There's only one small problem though. There's so much waiting. Waiting for your pie to bake takes forever. But don't worry, none of the customers ever get bored. But you definitely will. Especially when the last two customers used to sit there for 2 minutes straight doing nothing. Along with that, this is definitely one of the easiest games in the series. I don't think I ever got like below a 95% in any category. That's not a bad thing, and I'm willing to look past all of that just because I'm pretty sure it was cool math games that was laggy. So I'm going to give Papa's Bakeria an S. On to Papa's Cheeseria, and honestly I don't have too much to say about this one. Just a very solid mid-tier Papa's game. Cheeseria has the cooking of Burgeria, also with a little bit of balancing of Freezeria. In this game you're cooking grilled cheese and french fries. I don't really know why they felt the need to add the second dish to every one of these later games. I will say though, cool math games, please upgrade your servers. I don't know what it is about Cheeseria, Sushiria, and Bakeria, but they were so laggy. Please fix it. Anyways, Cheeseria is like a solid C tier. Papa's Takamia. This is definitely one of the most fast-paced games in the Papa's series. Cooking is done fast, orders come in fast, building is fast. This is one of the earlier Papa's games, so there's a lot less customization, but that's okay. Cooking in this game still requires attention, but it's kind of the perfect amount where you just pop in occasionally and not have to babysit the food. This is also the first game that has multiple things you have to do while cooking. For example, when cooking chicken, you have to cut it and then toss it around. And then comparing that to the beef, you just have to like toss around. Building the taco is a balance minigame. Best example is probably Freezeria. So, you know, not bad. Not bad at all. Overall, I'm feeling an A tier. Papa's Hot Doggeria is good because the name is funny. Besides that, it's just okay. Just take the cooking from Burgeria and the building from Takamia. The series has me speaking in fairy tales because these names are so stupid. There's a drink and popcorn section that is super easy. Literally all you have to do is pick the right size. Hey, but at least it's something. Foreshadowing is a narrative device that suggests every customization option is here too. Honestly, I don't have too much to say about this one. It's just a pretty solid game. Going into B tier. Papa's Pastaria, and I'm gonna be honest, I did not like this one. Take the babysitting of the cooking from Burgeria and double it, give it to the next person. The building is very similar to Pizzeria, except for it removes literally all freedom. There's certain patterns you have to do, like depending on how many toppings you have to put on. Say you put on 4 mushrooms, you have to do this pattern. Have to. Always get points taken off. And like, yeah, I probably would have done patterns anyways, just because they look nice. But the second you force me to do it, I don't want to do it anymore. They also added a breadstick area, and it's probably just because all the newer games have 2 cooking stations. But the twist of this one is, you don't have to do anything. Honestly, I'm just confused why this is here, besides the fact that you usually get breadsticks with pasta, but I don't know. Just seems like a waste. Pastaria still has all the restaurant and character customization of the newer games, but I just don't care. This is going into D tier. Don't play it. Papa's Wingeria. Wingeria is also kind of funny, just because how the building station works. I really don't know how you'd actually judge a plate of wings, but in this game, you're judged based off on how the pattern you make. And I know I just docked Pastaria points for that, but the idea of doing this with wings is so stupid it kind of works. I honestly think it's this way just because how else would you judge it with keeping the formula of the Papa's games? Also, this game would kind of suck to play on a trackpad just because there's a lot of like clicking and holding. The sauce minigame was a little hard to figure out too, but it's just a timing minigame, so it's not awful. Honestly, I don't really love or hate this one, but that might just be because we're 10 games in at this point, and I'm getting tired. Another C tier. We're going back to desserts with Papa's Cupcakeria, and I like this one. Honestly, it's just a pretty solid Papa's game. You have to balance how much dough. I think it's called dough with cupcakes. I don't know. After that, there's mandatory waiting like all these games, but it doesn't take too long. And honestly, the only annoying part of this game is putting the frosting on. The controls feel a little weird, but that's just because it tries to essentially do it itself by layering it. But all the minigames are fun, so overall I'm feeling a nice little A tier on this one. With Papa's Donuteria, we're coming back to more simple ones, which honestly isn't bad at all. Instead of there being 2 different foods to cook here, there's just a couple of different donut types, which is better in my opinion. Cooking style is similar to Burgeria and Pastaria. For decorating, it's kind of like drawing on the donuts, which is fun. There's a little bit of lag when playing on cool math games, but honestly, I'm kind of used to that by now, 11 games in. I don't really have much to say about it. Very solid B tier. For Papa's Scooperia, we have to talk about just who orders ice cream like this? I've just never seen it. I don't know. But Scooperia is pretty solid. The bell is only $4.50, so great change. There's one change that I did really like, and that usually there isn't a big difference between regular orders and closers. But the game tries to make a big difference by saying the closers are more strict, which they are. But in this game, the closers also order a harder order. Like, instead of 1 cookie and ice cream, it's like 3 cookies of ice cream, all that. It's just a nice little change at the end of the day. A little challenge, you know? Nothing wrong with that. Scooperia has a lot of unique mechanics, and the baking is pretty fast, so I can't give it anything lower than an A tier. Love to see it. We're finally at the last game. 14 games in, and we're ending off with Papa's Pancakeria. And do I have any major thoughts on this game? No, not really. I mean, believe it or not, it's just kind of more of the same. There was one quality of life change, and that's adding a permanent speed up button on the oven. The speed up button's in all the other games, but you get it for free in this one. Interestingly, there's a 4th locked section, but like I said, I'm only playing these games for a week and didn't unlock it, so pretty much it doesn't exist for this review. For cooking, you have to balance out how much time you bake on each side of the pancakes. It's exactly like Burgeria, except for it's faster, so it's not as annoying. Another thing to note is that this is the first game I've seen where you might have to put ingredients in between multiple like food items. For example, you have a pancake, put 3 butter, another pancake, and then like syrup. So just kind of something to separate it. But yeah, that's it. I'm just kind of feeling a B tier on this one. All right, here's the tier list. You can go screenshot it, post it in my dead Discord server, you know, so nobody has to actually watch the video. And you might be asking, what's the big conclusion of this video? And that is, you know, I think this series is really good, but I really don't think you're supposed to play them all back to back. I am very much sick of seeing Papa. He's everywhere in this world, and I can't take it anymore. I'm just done. There's too many. Okay, that's all I got. Subscribe if you want. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one if I do. Bye.